It's time to invoke the 25th Amendment and to end this nightmare.
Lawmakers call for President Donald Trump's removal from office. They cite his handling of the storming of the Capitol.
The county with the highest coronavirus positivity rate in Region 1 continues to try and cut down on the local spread. Health officials outline their plan. And
frontline workers at a state-line health system are officially vaccinated against COVID. A doctor says soon it will be the public's turn to roll up their sleeves. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. With less than 2 weeks until Inauguration Day, Congress confirms who will be sworn in as the next president.
Early this morning, Vice President Mike Pence made it official, gaveling in Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. After the violence on Capitol Hill yesterday, Facebook and Twitter blocked President Trump's social media accounts, and members of Congress were forced to find a way to get back to business. With 4 left dead and dozens injured, lawmakers expressed hesitance to call for more electoral challenges, leaving only the counts from Arizona and Pennsylvania to be debated. Many Republicans are now distancing themselves from President Trump during his final days in office.
When it's over, it is over. It is over. The final thing, Joe Biden. I've traveled the world with Joe. I hoped he lost. I prayed he would lose. He won. He's the legitimate president of the United States.
In a statement today, President Trump said he would facilitate a peaceful transition of power.
Rumblings of removing the president grow louder across Washington and in the state line. This morning, Representative Adam Kinzinger posted a message on Twitter calling on Vice President Mike Pence and members of the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment.
The liars and conspiracy authors are already at it again this morning with false narratives about yesterday's disaster. Here's the truth. The president caused this. The president is unfit, and the president is unwell.
Congressman Kinzinger is currently the lone Republican congressman calling for Trump's removal. Democrats echo the sentiment, like Speaker Nancy Pelosi and dozens of others in the House, and 6 members of the Senate, including presumptive Majority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer.
5 juveniles are arrested accused of robbery, battery, and mob action. Their ages range from 12 to 16. Investigators say yesterday, just before 10 a.m., a man was walking down 5th Avenue in Rockford. He told police a gold-colored car pulled up. The 5 teens got out and threatened to shoot him before beating him and stealing his car keys and wallet. The victim drove himself to the hospital. Investigators found the suspected vehicle abandoned across town and arrested the juveniles near Montague Street. The suspects are being held at the Winnebago County Jail Detention Center. A man's recovering after being shot in Rockford early this morning. The shooting took place just after 5:30 near the corner of Maple and Lee Streets. That's about a block away from Fairgrounds Park. Officers found a man with a single gunshot wound sitting in a car. He was rushed to the hospital and is expected to be okay. No word yet on any arrests in connection to the shooting.
For months, Boone County has had the highest COVID test positivity rate in the region. The number hit more than 31% in mid-November.
The area's top health official tells Michelle Rave progress is being made.
Many of our residents work in other counties, so they may be going across the region to work, or even crossing over into Wisconsin to work and then returning to our community.
Boone County continues to fight the spread of COVID, cutting their positivity rate in half over the past 2 months.
Through the contact tracing efforts, really what we've seen is we've seen the spread in workplaces for sure, whether we're talking about the manufacturing industry, whether we're talking about the bar and restaurant industry, whether we're talking about schools, because you have to remember that we have Boone County residents that work in schools in other counties, right? We've seen spread in healthcare settings, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
About 20% of the county is Hispanic, which was a worry for the health department.
And we discovered back in October that Hispanic Latinos were 3.6 times more likely to contract COVID-19 than their white counterparts here in our communities. So we have been working really hard to address that.
Because of that, they developed Forward Boone County to help educate people about COVID.
We're also working with community in order to provide them with resources available to educate them, to distribute face masks, to provide them with information that's pertinent to them.
We have a much better pulse on how much virus is circulating in the community, and a more accurate picture of what our rates are because we were able to increase our testing capacity in the fall.
Now they're turning their focus to vaccinating thousands.
This is an exciting phase of the COVID pandemic because we feel like we're really going to start to make a measurable difference.
Reporting for your home team, I'm Michelle Rave.
Healthcare workers at another Rockford area hospital received the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. SwedishAmerican employees rolled up their sleeves again this week. Around 2,500 frontline workers got the shot yesterday. The rest of the group lined up this morning. Employees got first-round shots about 3 weeks ago. Doctors tell us the process has gone smoothly.
It really makes us feel so much better that now we have so many people that have had the full complement of the Pfizer vaccine. And that is a start to getting, moving on with life as usual. And now all we really hope for is for the rest of the community to be allowed the same opportunity.
We told you yesterday, Mercy Health Hospital received its second shipment of shots this week as well.
A Loves Park business dedicates some of its profits to help support a police canine lost in the line of duty. Screw City Creations is selling shirts, hoodies, and stickers in memory of Boone County Sheriff's canine Loki. All proceeds will go to the department's canine unit. Loki was killed last month during a traffic stop on I-90. A suspected drunk driver crashed into Deputy Robert Rosenkrantz's squad. Loki was inside. Investigators say Vincent Millar was behind the wheel. He's due in court tomorrow. You can find a link to the fundraiser at mystateline.com.
Before we could access movies and TV shows at the push of a button or on our phones, brick and mortar video stores were a family movie night staple.
Ari Bruckman explains how the advent of streaming services forced a movie rental chain to eject from the state line.
After more than 42 years in business, Family Video is closing down. Despite streaming services starting years ago, many of the chain stores remained open. In fact, they outlasted competitor Blockbuster, which shut down in 2014. There are still stores in Dixon, Belvedere, Byron, and Loves Park, whose manager Christina Wallenberg says since she started 7 years ago, working at Family Video has always been more than a job to her.
I loved it. I was always a longtime customer at the Family Videos here, and we were in here, my family and I were in here probably almost every weekend, getting movies ourselves. It was always an experience to be here, and then when I started working here, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the job, the people, the customers, just the whole experience. It was like a Family Video family.
Coming up at 6, hear from a Family Video customer for close to 30 years, as he tells me what he's going to miss most in Loves Park. For your home team, I'm Ari Bruckman.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, that wintry scene, that has continued here these last couple of days. Today, no exception. Tomorrow, no exception either. The only thing we're going to kind of get rid of here these next couple of days is really that thick and dense fog and freezing fog. But once again, making for a beautiful scene. Anita Ebert shared this picture of the old corn barn here just north of Franklin Grove. You can see the ice-covered trees and the ice here on the barn as well. Have to say thank you to Jeff for sharing this picture looking south and southeast here of Rockford on Blackhawk Road. You've got the ice-covered trees. Now, one thing I've noticed, though, after this prolonged period of that fog and freezing fog, and while, yeah, it's made for an absolutely gorgeous scene, have you noticed the branches looking a little weighted down as a result of all that ice? So that it might be a little bit of a problem as our temperatures are going to stay just a smidge below the freezing mark, not only for the overnight lows, but also for our daytime highs. Really not going to see those numbers warm up. Yes, there's been a little bit of melting here and there, and the wind actually helping to blow some of that ice off this afternoon. We'll keep with that northerly breeze, which has put a little bit of a chill into the air for us today. 28 in Freeport, 32 right now in Rockford, 30 in Rochelle, 29 our temperature in DeKalb, and we're currently sitting at 28 degrees in Monroe. Our weather watcher Bob here in Rockford checking in with 29 underneath a cloudy sky. No rain, no snow. Had a couple of flurries fly to the east of us, and we might see one or two flurries here as we head through the overnight tonight, especially to our east as we hang on to the cloud cover. But that dense fog, not a concern. For once, we don't have any county under a dense fog advisory for this evening. So that is some good news because that wind kind of helping to mix things out just a bit. Now, if only they could get rid of the cloud cover, right? Well, I think we're Might see a couple of breaks in some of those cloudy skies. It'll stay mostly cloudy not only for these next couple of days, but heading into the weekend. Believe it or not, we actually have high pressure anchored across the plains in the Midwest, kind of steering a lot of those storm systems down to our south. One wrapping up along the Gulf states, another one coming down from the northern Rockies. Again, those passing us to our south as we've got kind of this split flow, but also this stagnant flow in our jet stream pattern. So here we go with futurecasts. We've got the cloud cover. Take note of some of those flurries, though, coming in off of Lake Michigan. Might be a little more of an issue out towards the areas near Lake Michigan, so the shoreline. But McHenry, DeKalb, and Boone County, wouldn't be surprised if we see a flurry or two. Again, we're dealing with that cloud cover tomorrow. Might start to break that up just a little bit as we go through the afternoon. Next couple of nights, you've still got the potential for a little more fog, and those clouds will hang tight here as we head into the weekend. Now, we are going to stay pretty quiet into early next week, but we get this pattern change coming up by late next week. Ridge of high pressure builds out towards the west, so this will force the jet stream down south across the middle and eastern portion of the country. So this brings in a much colder air mass where our temperatures will actually dip below average and could have set us into a little more of an active pattern with a few more storm systems rolling through by the time we get towards the end of next weekend, even into next weekend. 25, that's where we head for the overnight tonight. 32 for tomorrow afternoon. Hey, guess what? Cloudy again. A little breezy, though, with that north and northeasterly wind. Our winds will stay north for the weekend, so that does shave off a couple of degrees in the temperatures for the weekend. Upper 20s as we head into early next week. See a little bump in the numbers before we get that cool down, which, guys, looks to occur by the time we get towards Friday and Saturday of next week. Our first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Cloudy skies are going to stay with us. Might see a flurry or two here as we head into the overnight hours, but still dealing with that cloud cover. Just not quite as dense of fog as what we've had the last couple of nights. And the good thing about tonight, no dense fog advisory. So that is some good news. Temperatures down to 25 degrees. Now there is still going to be some patchy fog, just kind of like what we had here throughout the day today. 32 for tomorrow afternoon, a little breezy with that northeasterly wind. Upper 20s, low 30s, really not too far from where we are this time of year. Actually kind of at the lowest point for the winter season as far as those average temperatures go. But we could see a bigger cool down, guys, by the end of next week.
Nice to hear it's clearing up out there, Candace. Thanks.
Thanks for spending a little time with us. Stay safe.